Ice sheets are extremely important to the environment, but today they are melting and melting very fast. These melting ice sheets are contributors to global warming, adding to sea level rise and ocean warming. Polar ice caps have melted faster in the last 20 years than the last 10,000 years. The EPA has proved that the light color of snow reflects more sunlight than open water, so a reduction in the snow causes the Earth's surface to absorb more energy from the sun, causing the Earth's temperature to rise. These polar regions are important drivers of the world's climate, so when the everlasting ice melts, the whole world is affected.
Hi, I'm Ms. Scholl. I teach French at AI DuPont High School.
Do you believe humans have an impact on global warming?
Yes, I do. I think the things that we do to our environment definitely have an impact.
Have you ever heard about ice caps and glaciers melting?
Yes, I have.
Do you know where they are?
I don't know exactly where they are, but Antarctica maybe. But they are definitely melting because of the things that are happening in our atmosphere.
Okay, well, they are in Antarctica and they're also in Greenland. Do you think that these melting ice sheets will have an impact on climate change?
I do. I think they've already started to have an impact.
What about your everyday life? Do you think it'll have an impact?
Of course it will. That's why I recycle and do the things that I'm supposed to do for my environment.
Well, did you know there are 3 giant ice sheets that are already gone from the Atlantic? They're ranging sizes from Texas, Rhode Island, and Connecticut.
No, I didn't know they were that large.
Well, have you ever heard of the EPA?
The Environmental Protection Agency.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I have.
Okay. An ice sheet is a mass of glacial land ice extending more than 50,000 square kilometers. Fresh water flows into the sea, changing ocean currents and the living conditions for marine organisms.
Hi, I'm Mr. Weaver. I'm the band director here at AI DuPont High School.
Do you think humans have an impact on global warming?
Yeah, I think humans have an impact on global warming. However, naturally occurring CO2 emissions have a greater impact. Volcanic eruptions, things along those lines. So, I think that there's way too much pressure saying that we're at fault when nature is doing most of global warming by itself.
Have you heard about the melting ice caps and glaciers in Antarctica and Greenland?
Yeah, I've heard about the ice caps melting and, all the volcanic activity up there plays into that. Earth goes through cycles. Whether humans are on Earth or not, it's going to go through cycles of freezing, thawing, freezing, thawing. So it's just a lot of political BS that humans are involved in this.
Do you think that these melting ice sheets will impact you in any way?
Well, I don't think they're going to impact us in any way. Yeah, they're going to melt and the sea level is going to rise, and then things are going to end up refreezing, and the sea level is going to, lower itself, just like it has in the past. So, how is it going to affect me? Not much.
Well, did you know that Antarctica and Greenland contribute 99% of the fresh water on Earth?
Yeah, I know they contribute 99% of their fresh water on Earth. There are also tons of underground freshwater streams that people can tap into for natural resources that aren't used today.
Well, if the Antarctic's ice sheet melted, sea level would rise 200 feet, and if Greenland's ice sheet melted, sea level would rise 20 feet. Do you believe that humans are impacting global warming?
Yeah, humans definitely have impacted global warming over the years with all the pollution they've created through the years. It's definitely had an effect with the ozone layer, which they say has melted the polar ice caps, which in turn has changed the climate, which in turn, from what I've been told, 75 years from now, a state like Delaware might have a climate like, say, Georgia.
Okay, so you have heard about the ice caps and glaciers melting, and do you know where most of these ice caps are that are melting?
Well, I would assume in the north. I don't know how much Antarctica is melting, but I do know in the north polar ice caps are significantly smaller. But exact areas, I'm not sure.
Okay, so most of the ice caps that are melting are in Antarctica and Greenland. Do you think that these melting ice sheets have an impact on the climate, and what about your everyday life?
My everyday life, I don't think it has an impact on my everyday life per se, like tomorrow or the next day, but my children, my grandchildren, I'm sure, like I had mentioned earlier, when climate changes drastically in 50, 75 years, yes, it will definitely have an impact on somebody down the road. Maybe not me tomorrow, but next generations.
Okay. Well, did you know that 3 giant ice sheets are gone from the Atlantic? One of them being the size of Rhode Island, another the size of Connecticut, and the last one is the size of Texas.
I had heard about one the size of Rhode Island, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't aware that it was that serious. Where there's 3 ice sheets that are the size of 3 states. So no, I wasn't fully aware of that.
Okay.
I'm Catherine Hall, AI High School, and I'm a cafeteria general worker.
Well, have you ever heard of ice caps and glaciers melting, and do you know where they are?
Oh, I have definitely heard of that. And they're North Pole, South Pole.
Yep. The ice caps that are melting are generally from Antarctica and Greenland. Do you think that these melting ice sheets have an impact on climate change or your everyday life?
Well, they might, because stop and think how many things we use now that emit temperatures that a few years, maybe 100 years back did not. So they probably do.
Okay, well, did you know that the loss of snow affects vegetation and wildlife, and also affects our water supplies, transportation, cultural practices, travel, and recreation for millions of people?
Oh, that's a big question. I would assume it does.
Yeah. We are also getting our vegetables from foreign places that are dependent on these icy or snowy climates. And as the snow melts and does not come back, it affects where we buy our food.
Well, right now, if you hadn't called me out here, I would be opening pineapple and mandarin oranges, and I guarantee you they're from
What do you
Thailand.
think you can do to reduce the effects of global warming?
I doubt anything, because nobody is going to go back to do. They want everything with a motor hooked to it. They're not going to do anything manually, trust me. So I don't think it's going to be anything done about it. It's where I was raised, and we were 7 miles from the nearest town. They did not have a car, but somehow or other they got back and forth to work. So now, and I told the girls, I bet you both of you have a car, and I think I got a nod that was yes. So with that few years, whole families didn't have cars, and now nearly every person in a family has a car. Has to have a great impact on what's going on.
I believe melting ice sheets are extremely important to our environment. Not only does it provide water and habitat, but it helps regulate our weather. Without it, our environment would be all out of whack.
It is important for people to know the significance of polar ice caps melting because removing snow and ice coverage on land leaves behind a dark surface which increases the amount of sunlight that is absorbed at the Earth's surface, a feedback that increases the original warming of the Earth.
As individuals, each of us can take steps to save our energy and stop global warming, as a result helping stop ice sheets melting.